Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have with us Renee Hastings, President and CEO of Executive Health Now, a premier virtual assistance agency, and we'll learn from her about how strategic delegation with virtual assistants trans- transforms productivity, leadership, and work-life balance. We'll learn about real tactics to work smarter, lead better, and free up time for what matters most. Welcome to the show, Renee.
Thank you, AJ. I'm so excited to be here.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to India in this online form, Renee. And I am sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We'll learn about why smart leaders delegate. We'll learn about how smart delegation can help you grow faster, much more quicker. We'll learn all about this. But before that, Renee, let's understand a bit about your story, your journey, your background, so that the audience knows who they are listening to.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so happy to share because the business is actually a natural outpouring from what I already knew how to do and what I had done for my entire career. So, from the time I was even pre teenagers, I had always had an interest in organizing things and helping support business owners and executives. And it was from that I continued in my career as an executive assistant, eventually to the C-suite, supporting the C-suite of Fortune 100 and Fortune 500 companies here in the United States. And when you support an executive on that level, you become very aware of things that most people aren't aware of before they become aware of it, because of that close relationship and that connection that you have. So when I started the business, it's kind of a side hustle. I put that in air quotes, to my full-time day job, because I figured if I could do this full-time during the day with my eyes closed and hands tied behind my back, surely I can do this for myself, for my own clients on the nights and weekends, because my kids were gone. And so I had a ton of time on my hand. And I was just like, I have to be able to serve other people as well. And so I did that, and I brought on a few clients. I, told everybody what I was doing, brought on a few clients. But then when the number of my clients or the volume of work for my clients had become the same as my full-time day job, I don't know if you've ever worked a full-time day job and a full-time night job and tried to get sleep and tried to provide quality work and tried to be your best self for your family and community. It does not work. So I realized then that I needed an assistant. I had my cousin my cousin had a friend who had started a business, and she was providing virtual assistant services. And so when I spoke with her, it was like I was talking to myself, because the same way I would process information for my executive was the same way she would process information for her executives. So she had a ton of knowledge, ton of experience, and we saw eye to eye on how to take care of executives. So she immediately became my assistant, and I was able to delegate the work that my clients were giving to me to her for her to complete while I was still working my full-time day job. And then in the nights and evenings, I could just check in with her to make sure that all the things I had sent her had been handled. And when I made that move, that one decision was a game changer for me personally, because I was able to get more rest. I was able to think more about the future of the business and bring in more new clients and show up as my better self during the day, because I was more rested, and the quality, most importantly, the quality of my work, and went back to its normal, natural state of excellence, which I really prided myself on throughout my whole entire career. So that's the Cliff Notes version of the journey of how we got here today.
Wonderful, wonderful. So let's talk about this whole thing about virtual assistants. What from the ground, because you will be the best person to help us here. A lot of people have they know about this. Many people use it, and there are so many also who do not use it.
Mhm.
Are these people also having misconceptions about virtual assistants. There are stories also about data and all privacy and everything. So I want to understand about that landscape. What are the
Yes.
misconceptions that you would want to allay about virtual assistants? You must be getting asked this question from your potential clients, especially.
Yes, there are some concerns that they have about privacy, about their information. Most of them are uh, uh, experience some hangups about actually letting go of things. So they know they need to let go, but it's hard for them because of their own personal trust issues or perfectionism issues or personal things that are going on within themselves that keep them hanging on to the work that they know they should let go of. And so in those cases, we understand this. We've seen this over and over again. And so we suggest that they delegate one small thing that, is a neither make or break the business kind of thing, and let that virtual assistant continue to show up consistently with dependability and earn that trust. And once they earn that trust, then it's easier for the clients to delegate more high level things and more things that will move the needle in their business. For our team members, we make sure that everyone has VPNs and antivirus, anti-malware, all the anti softwares to protect client data because we take that very seriously. And so that's one of the things I share with our clients, that these are requirements of everyone on our team to have these things in place. We also sign confidentiality agreements and NDAs that are enforceable. So that helps put our clients at ease as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I want to understand, some people do not understand the effectiveness of such things. They think, many people think if I have to get the best job done, it is better that I do it myself. And that
Mm.
can be a lot of difficult thing for a lot of these successful people, especially who are growing fast in their careers, in whatever they are doing. What would you like to tell them about this part? Because they think they only know about their work, they only will be able to do it fast. What about virtual assistants? People will think they may not be from that very strong background, they may not understand what I'm trying to say. A lot of things can get lost in translation, and finally, I'll be spending more energy than I would if I did that work myself.
Yes, I have heard these things many times before. But one of the things I like to share with people is the time value added aspect of your time as it relates to the business. So that you started this business, say you're making widgets and you are a very successful widget maker. But to promote your widgets, you need a website and you need social media and you need, bookkeeping to keep track of all the things. Well, if your expertise is in making widgets, you should not be spending your valuable time, your valuable widget making time, doing things other than making widgets. You need to bring in a team that will help you with your marketing, with your social media, with your bookkeeping, with your all of the other administrative things, scheduling the meetings with the other busy people who are hard to get a hold of, coordinating calendars. That's not how you should be spending your time, because you're the best widget maker. You go make widgets. And once you explain to us what you have been doing up to this point, before we came into your life, we will take our notes, we will make sure we get understanding, and then we will operate those systems for you on your behalf so that you can spend your valuable time doing the things that matter most to the business and make money for the business.
Absolutely. Now, a lot of times, even for anyone would not know what to delegate, what not to delegate. Once you make up your mind about delegating, you want to just delegate everything. But that is also not possible, because there are ground realities there. So, how do you help these people understand what they can delegate, they should delegate, what is delegatable, what is not? How do you do that? Is that it need, you have to either become a psychologist or get into the mind of that person and understand that fully. And a lot of successful people have their own, you know, ways of doing things. It is very difficult. Some may be very irritable. Some may not have a less attention span. They may not get to discussing so many things. That must be a tricky part of your business, but you do it. How do you do it? What are the challenges you guys face?
Yes. So it's funny sometimes because they know that they need to because they're too busy. Otherwise, they wouldn't have called me. They are too busy. They're burning the candle at both ends. And so they know they need to delegate something. And so one of my initial conversations is, what do you spend your time doing that is not bringing in money for the business? Is that email management? Are you running through your emails, trying to wade through all the junk to find the one or two important things? Or are you trying to schedule meetings with other people to close deals or make deals or network with people? Are you, updating your website with new things? Are you, posting on social media? Those things do not add dollars to your bottom line. Those are things that can easily be done by somebody else. There are many other things that, just is very industry specific and very specific to each business. But in every business, if you're going to scale and you are going to, basically what our clients say is that their businesses caught fire. When we became a part of their team, their business caught fire and just exploded in growth. And so they were able then to focus on the strategic matters of the business for that expansion because they brought us in to help them and take off their plate those things that were consuming their time. And so now they had that time and space to do that, and it's a win-win for everybody.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, how does your company, differentiate in terms of the services it provides? There are many, virtual assistants providing such services in today's time. So, executive help now, how is it different? It doesn't have to be very drastically different. Maybe in services, the type of training you give, the type of people you have, help us understand things from the ground, that the way you operate.
Yes. So I believe that one of our primary differentiators is the fact that they get trained by me personally in how to operate with excellence, because customer service, number one, is our first impression on behalf of the client to their clients. And we need to make sure that we represent not only executive help now well, but most importantly, that we represent the client well to their clients or their potential new clients. And so the training that I provide is very detailed, very intense. To become a member of our team is not an easy task because we want to make sure that our team members are high quality, highly skilled, college educated, and are thinkers, not just doers. And so that when they get partnered with a client, they can actually hit the ground running and make an immediate difference in the life of that client.
Absolutely. What about expectations? How do you manage? Clients may be having a lot of expectations. And the biggest expectation is that the virtual assistant will be like them. They will be operating like them, the way they do things, which is virtually not possible because the person has different experience, expertise, and that has cannot reflect in every part of the work that the virtual assistant does. How do you manage those expectations on the ground, Renee? And one more thing is that, do you also declare in these communications that it is the virtual assistant and not that person itself? Should one do it? Should why and should, or should one not do it? Help us understand through this maze.
That is a really great question. So when representing a client, we typically say that I'll back up a little bit. The first thing we need to do is establish a scope of work. Okay, in this scope of work, we outline what the expectation is. We outline the duties, what we need to have done, when we need to have it done by, like if we're posting, how many times a week, on what platforms, all these different things. And typically, when a client comes to us, they explain to us how they have done things in the past. And we will often ask, how's that working for you? Would you like for it to be different? If so, how? And when they explain that to us, that's the direction we start moving. We start taking them to a place they haven't been before because of this conversation that we've had with them. And we know what they want, we know what their goals and desires are, and it's our job to help them get there. So that's what we do. And so if that looks like we're, you know, uh, offering options for them to consider. If they want to get to this place, then maybe consider doing this, and this way. And then we let, of course, leave the final decision up to them. And if they're serious, they'll say, okay, let's try it. And, you know, we may try it as a pilot in a small space before we roll it out to something big. So there are different ways of communicating and strategizing with the client once we understand what their needs are and where they want to go. That's our job, is to help them get there where they want to go.
Absolutely, absolutely. Any pitfalls that are there that both sides should know about, especially from the client side? And what is the best way for them to hire the right kind of virtual assistant? Because there are many agencies who have the service and you would not know beforehand. Is there any tip that you would want to give your potential customers?
Yes. So one of the pitfalls that we have discovered is that um, sometimes a client will, like I said before, have that fear of delegating. And so they try to hold on to things. And one of the things that they do is that they will stop communicating. Like, we're trucking down the track, you know, making moves and forward momentum, but we need answers. We have questions, and we'll send a message to the client saying, what do you think about this? Or how, can I get a response to that? And then the client is crickets. They don't respond to the emails. They don't respond to the phone calls. And so we're kind of stuck where we are because of the client's lack of communication. And so I would like to encourage anyone who is considering bringing on a virtual assistant to understand the importance of clear, open, honest, quick communications. We move fast. We are very fast workers because we're experts at what we do. So it doesn't take us a long time to get things done. And so if we've got questions along the way, we need a quick response so that we can keep up the momentum and keep making these changes on your behalf for you, which ultimately will end up benefiting you and your business. So that's one of the pitfalls that I've discovered for new business owners who are hiring an assistant for the very first time. And one of the things that you want to consider as you're hiring an assistant is, what we do is we make sure that the personality types are a fit. So that's one of my jobs, is to get to know the client, because I already know my team. And I know who would be the best fit for that person. I've already vetted this person. I've screened them. I've trained them. I know their work quality and work ethic. And so when you hire from an agency, hopefully all agencies operate that way. I'm not exactly sure if they do. I just know what we do. And I know that when you hire us, you get quality people and you don't have to worry about finding the right person because I've already found them. So I suggest reaching out to an agency who also has already done the vetting, instead of just an individual one-off person that you don't know, may have some reviews, but you don't know if they've been bought. It's hard to find the right person because there are so many. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack. But with an agency, you tend to have a much better chance of success.
Absolutely. There's much to learn from you about all this, Renee. And I'm sure a lot of people, a lot of clients would want to connect with you, learn more about you, the way you do work, and also, learn how these things can help them and make their mind to get into, to delegate a lot of their work and grow faster. What is the best way for them to connect with you?
The best way to connect with me is through our website. We have a contact page at www.executivehelpnow.org. If anyone is able to text to a US number, we also have a freebie that's called How Do You Know When You're Ready for a VA? And they can text the letters VANOW, that's VA now, to 1-866-943-3591.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Bye.